Start of game.
I wake up early because I lay in bed for like almost an hour, hating being awake.
And yet here he is awake playing
And
Dungeons and
then
Dragons
I
with
go
us.
about my morning routine.
Well, good morning, everybody. I hope that your Sunday morning routine includes watching this lovely program of Dungeons and Dragons Team X, otherwise known as Team Xenagog, who is an official franchise of Acquisitions Incorporated, operating out of the Pinedale region with exclusive rights to the Chandelwood region, but we find our protagonists far afield as they pursue their various
Treading on other folks' turf.
And listen, that's what we do. So, but before we get into today's game, let us go through our normal morning ritual of introductions. So I will start to my left here.
I'm Clues playing Dren, my gem weaver, who's currently looking for her dice.
You don't need dice for a game like this.
I had those around here somewhere.
I had a brief moment of panic because I was like, where are my dice?
Exactly. We need those things sometimes.
We need those things.
I
We need the
have
shiny
mine.
math rock.
Mm-hmm. Ah, yes.
I've got them ever conveniently in my
In my little cup. In my little cup.
But it's got a cute little dragon.
And
Moving on.
moving on to my right.
I wanna just at one point someone is gonna ask you to make the Acquisitions Incorporated ass dice.
Ass dice.
Like the statue of the asses that one dude
Oh
makes.
God.
They're gonna ask,
Okay.
"Can I have ass in my dice?" And you're
So
gonna have
that
to.
wouldn't be the weirdest thing. Just
Butt
random
dice.
offshoot.
Blood.
I've legit had to make the golden penis dice.
Okay, yeah.
Butt dice and dick dice.
Butt dice and these dice have little dicks
Happy
in them.
Sunday, everybody. Today's the Lord's Day. Happy happy dick
Happy-
dice.
Do they make you roll better? Do they channel virility to you? No, they just have penises in them.
No, but when you roll a natural 20, you can just say, you just got dicked.
You just got dick down.
Well, it had to be that, it was pointing at the one. So.
Oh.
Anyway, continuing along to my right.
What a strange
You're welcome.
craft you find yourself in.
I know.
It's laudable, but it's like, damn.
I mean, I've cast dead people too, so,
Yeah.
it's the thing.
Hi, I'm Viking Goat. I don't have anything interesting to say.
Oh, that's not true. He's our capybara boy.
I live a normal life.
And we just got back from the place that you hate most in the multiverse.
Well, no, Thunuk, but who I play, yes, he has interesting
Our
things to say.
gentle capybara boy.
Yes. I'm Viking Goat, guy who cut his hands up yesterday because he's an idiot when installing gutters.
Gutters,
That's
watch
all
out.
I've got to say about myself.
Okay.
Touching him is a 1d4
We've
experience.
got dicks.
Continuing to the
Who's
bottom
next.
right.
Is that one me?
That is you.
What's your fun fact for the
I
day?
am Blind Cleric, playing Hugon Valander. Yesterday was the first Saturday I've gotten off since June 2019, so that was fun. And I spent it doing chores and reading books, and then I finally managed to get a hold of the Tex-Mex place that I like to go to on weekends, and they gave me an absolute godly portion of menudo. That was amazing. I had like 3 or 4 beers, and it was great. It was just a fantastic.
That's a good Saturday.
Yeah, and then I slept 3 hours,
And then I fell asleep.
and here I am, ready to.
I just had to make the connection that was a bad thing.
Oh.
I was like, oh, good. I'm like,
Oh, wait, no. That's
Wait a minute, other people sleep like normal.
Yeah.
I'm the mutant.
yeah.
And to the bottom left of our screen here.
Good morning. I am Roz, also known as Purple Monkey Robots, and I'm playing the Tiefling Bard Eno. And I'm not saying I'm going to do a Jim Morrison impersonation, but this title is The Doors, so
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
it's possible.
It is possible.
God, I
Riders
just don't wanna-
on the storm.
As long as we don't get sued.
I love that skit so much. Sorry, I was just thinking about the Jimmy Fallon, Jim
Oh.
Morrison. Every time somebody says the Doors, I'm
A
always
rainbow. um,
it's too good.
it is. And I am Brian Wiggins, otherwise known as Saint Brian. I will be the dungeon master for this motley crew of miscreants, reprobates, and other words.
Other R words.
Other
that
R
are
words
bad.
that are in there. Delinquents, maybe. I don't know. I don't know their entire
Just,
history.
Brian, say what you really feel. Just call us millennials and be done with it. You old
no.
fart.
Not a
I'll
millennial.
actually
Okay,
call him
boomer.
a millennial.
What?
You see this gray? That's not millennial gray.
No.
Oh.
No, you-
this,
you-
this is millennial gray.
You can't see any of my whatever I have Gen X gray because
Yeah, I know.
I have removed it.
I'm basically just being
It's okay.
curmudgeonly.
It's okay.
time.
So on
Wake up.
today's episode, well, let's speak. Previous about last time on Team X, Team X had found themselves in Sigil pursuing their various goals. They needed to find out some information about Eno's friend Alexi, who had at some point when they came back into when he showed back up, many episodes ago, had apparently been turned into some kind of weird cyborg. So there were some questions as to how that happened, as well as general questions regarding many of the things that had been happening over the course of, one might say, close to 3 seasons, as far as plot. And it was determined that Grandmama Gemweaver, who we knew lived in Sigil, possibly had some answers to some of these questions. And upon arriving there, some of those questions were in fact answered. And it appears that possibly an ancient enemy of Grandmama Gemweaver is rearing her ugly head once again. But while they're also, Hugon was able to pursue his own task, his own self-given task, which was he wants to find a way to destroy an artifact given to him by the Red Lady, and has...
And if that seems rude and kind of like, that's a gift, you can't do that. It's exactly right.
And he does not care.
Right.
And
Absolutely right.
he has apparently interacted and tried to retain the services of possibly someone from the Gruul clans, maybe? We don't know.
Clan, Chaos Tech, somebody.
Rakdos, who knows?
Who knows?
But he was told to seek out someone named Zent the Unwise in Waterdeep, who had possibly had the power enough to destroy something that was created by the gods in this way. And the team, upon finishing their most immediate needs, their most immediate errands in Sigil, have found themselves back in Waterdeep. And Hugon has gone trudging off with his new flesh mask off to the docks to go try to find Zent the Unwise. And the rest of Team X, if memory serves, was trying to find a way to contact the King of Dragons, Bahamut. And was told that perhaps finding one of his temples might be the best course of the best course of action in order to find out how to do that. And we had left the previous episode with Thunuk and Eno and Dren standing there in the crowds in the middle of the City of Splendors as Hugon went stomping off to go do his thing.
Hugon was a major prick last time we played.
He
was an absolute champion of an asshole.
Level 1, like S level.
Yeah, S plus rank piece of shit.
And I just feel the need to say this. This is the characters.
Yeah, this is the character.
The players love each other very, very much.
We're cool. So, well, yeah, and also, fuck you.
I do feel it's important to say that because
I think it is very important.
It's so important. It's just like these are
disclaimer
people.
That, like,
people identify with their characters very personally, but
yes,
Gideon and Clues like each other very, very much.
Yes,
Drenmai and Hugon.
We
so
don't.
Much.
No.
Actually,
No.
there's not really a whole lot of people that Hugon does like.
Yeah, I think Dren would. I think Dren just likes picking on Hugon.
Yeah,
basically.
and
She likes
Hugon
to
is,
ride that.
I want to stress, not a good person. Like, I think that's important.
Well, let's just establish that. So, so where do we want to start today? Do we want to start with? Let us do this. For the 3 members who didn't go stomping off to the dock ward, off to the docks, because we had learned that Zent the Unwise, the directions that Hugon was given were that Zent would be somewhere where there was a high concentration of bars, taverns, houses of ill repute. That would narrow it down, and then look for fire, because apparently this is just a guy. It's not hard to miss once you've narrowed it down. Waterdeep being a pretty large city. So for the 3 remaining members, is the plan just to go directly to try to find a Temple of Bahamut and go there, or were there other things that were important to do prior to that?
So, watches as Hugon trudges off, and he holds up his hand. He's, wait, I've got something I need to deliver. I've got a delivery to make here. And he like reaches in his bag and he's got this. There's an envelope, right?
I think it was a sealed
Envelope,
letter.
right?
Yeah, it was like folded. So when you pull it out, you can see there's it's been very cleverly folded in a way that it's actually like locked shut, based on the way that it has been.
Yeah.
There would be no way for you to undo it and then redo it.
Okay.
So it's acting. So the folding is actually acting as its own seal.
It's an origami padlock.
Yeah.
There's actually historical evidence of sealing folds that they were used in medieval Europe, where they would actually be able to fold things in a very specific way that they haven't even been able to figure out how they actually folded them, because there's a way that unless you know how to undo it, it would essentially it would destroy it, or it'd be very obvious that it was open. So it acts as like a wax seal without using a wax. And people had like their own individual way of doing it, and that is what this letter looks like.
Darsh?
Have any of us seen this letter? Just you.
Thunuk did, I think. I think Thunuk was with me.
Yes.
I think
We went back to Darsh.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Thunuk was there. Like whether he remembers that or anything.
and I think Dren was there because she made the introduction to Darsh, and so I think that she would be aware that the request was made for a letter to be delivered. She might not have been there when you actually received it, because it was like, I have to write the letter. You know, it was one of.
I don't remember if she came back to the cart with us. I don't remember if she was there. Like I know
she was following you because you guys were tripping balls when you guys went back there, and I think she was sticking around.
Yeah.
She was not gonna not watch you guys tripping balls out of pure entertainment value.
I don't think Thunuk would remember the letter because he was just way too all over the place. That's true.
He was seeing some things.
So I look at Thunuk and I'm like, yeah, you remember the letter. Darsh, the guy that ran the cart, you kept wanting to touch things and he was telling you not to touch things. And then we had this whole thing about touching things.
Yes, he was selling the cursed things that were not supposed to be uncursed for some reason.
Yeah, and then like looks around and then he realizes he's holding this letter up and like people can see, and then he puts it away. He's like, oh, and he just says, yeah, he said that whoever I'm supposed to deliver this to would just reveal themselves. So I don't really know who I'm supposed to deliver it to, but I got to remember to do that. Maybe.
Fears.
Got a letter.
It's got a thing on it.
Hey, everybody.
I'm supposed to deliver this to you.
I'm trying to commit a crime. Whose letter is this? It's my letter, says the cop.
Yeah, that's mine. Can I see it?
They said that they were just going to reveal themselves, so here you go.
You need to come with me, sir.
Oh, no, I think I'm done. I think we're good.
And you know what? I just remembered it was Darsh that wanted the mushrooms. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we can make beer out of some of them.
Mm.
Anyway, do you guys need to do anything while we're here?
No.
I don't think I had any specifically for me here.
Alexi, is there anything that you'd like to do while we're here?
I'm just going along for the ride at this point.
No.
I mean, we do have some business down at the bar that we should probably attend to.
I mean, we can try and fit that in. I mean, we will fit that in, but
priorities and all that. We should probably go try to contact the giant dragon god first, though. I think that might take priority over some things.
Well, certainly, I mean, that is the priority. So,
but then we shall drink.
So, I look for anybody on the street that looks like they might worship Bahamut. Like I start looking around, just like
Start profiling people. You
yeah,
Bahamut
so-
worshiper.
Well, I'll say
Oh,
this.
what the fuck? There's no.
Yeah,
Try that in Waterdeep. Just see how that works. It's a great idea.
Yeah, I was
Excuse-
gonna go say maybe there's like a religious district.
Well, not so much that, but I will say this, that because you had spent previous time in Waterdeep, this is not an unfamiliar place to you.
right.
You would know where there would be a temple to Bahamut.
Oh, that's true. I probably would know. Where
Yeah,
it's
this is not like this is because I would imagine like something like that. I mean, there's gonna be like little churches. All if this is like a city, like any other city, there's lots of little churches. Like if you wanted to find like the a church to Lathander, there's a few of them around, little chapels, right?
Morning
But-
Lord.
Yeah, but
Fucking prick.
but you also know that for something like this, you don't want to go to like the little church. You go to the big temple, right?
Yeah.
An example would be like here in Philadelphia. If you're going to go to like the Catholic church, it would be to the Basilica of Saints Peter and Paul, the giant one in Center City. You know, that's like a giant landmark that's been there for 200 some odd years. So you do know that there is a larger like temple, the temple. When people say the Temple of Bahamut, you know which one they're talking about. Not one of like the little like neighborhood ones. It's not
Right.
it's not the neighborhood parish of Bahamut. It's
The
the
main one.
this is the one that's like it's like the tourist attraction almost. Like people come there just to see it sometimes, not even for the point of worshiping.
See that, son? Worship dragons in there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these things are usually of architectural, and you do know that in fact that the Temple of Bahamut is of architectural significance. Based on its design, it is very, very old, as old as the city, possibly as old as the city itself. And you remember when this was like a place that sometimes architectural students would come. It would be part of their studies. And art students, like people would go there to sketch, to take a look and see what was done there, just based on how it was built, for its architectural, its structural properties, design choices, layout, things like that. It's actually a very well designed, and you also know not ostentatious.
And I relay all those things to Thunuk and Dren and Alexi. Well, Alexi probably already knows it, but I relay those things to Dren and Thunuk, like conversationally as we're walking towards the Temple District, or whatever it happens to be called. Actually, like you know the architecture of the Temple of Bahamut. So.
So the temple would be located in one of the more well-to-do areas. Not in the like. There's a walled-off section where like the nobility live, like closer to where the open Lord of Waterdeep presides, where the Master Lords meet. So it is in a nicer area. But it's not like in one of like the nobility areas, because the idea is that anyone can walk into the Temple of Bahamut. And so I can see that. It's like, you know, when someone visits you, well, you guys have all seen this when you've come to Philadelphia, and I'm able to, oh yeah, I did this and this and this, because, you know, I'm excited about you being in Philly. It's sort of the same thing where, yeah, you're able to point out like, oh, and there's this happened over there, and oh, this is this little piece of history here. As you're making your way through, give me a perception check though.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask if I can do one to see if I see anybody I recognize or that. Where did I put my character sheet?
Well, if you go to D&D Beyond, it couldn't be easier.
It's an 18. I only get +3 to perception.
18.
It's an 18 though.
Okay. As you've been walking, you do notice a few furtive glances in your direction from people every now and then. Like nothing obvious. Like you don't feel like you're being followed. And it's not like people are gawking. You know, it's not like, oh, look, a tiefling. It's like, no, there's tieflings in Waterdeep, and
Yeah.
um,
So I've got my hood down.
yeah,
So,
And-
because I'm comfortable here. So.
but you notice like every now and again, like maybe just you think that one of the merchants or one of the vendors, one of the street vendors, like gives you like a second glance, and you're not sure, is it just because they thought you looked familiar? Is it because they just happened to see something shiny in your direction? You know, there's, you know, you're not necessarily seeing. It's like when you have that feeling when you're somewhere and you think you see someone that you know, and so you do the second glance, like, I don't think that's the person I think it is.
Okay.
Or
But
you
know-
could be Gideon and like begin to curse at them because you're happy to see them, and then find out as you approach within 10 feet that it's not the person that you thought it was.
Oh, never mind. This isn't the person
And then
I
you
should
have
use.
to explain yourself.
But they could be a
to
new
the
friend.
man that he looks exactly like your Lebanese friend from high school, and that you're sorry for
I want-
cursing at him, but you were very excited.
I want more of that
and then
story
you part
later.
ways amicably.
I want more of that story later.
Okay.
But you notice that happened a couple of times with someone as like they pass by the street, as they pass by you coming the opposite direction. It's like that every now and again. It's like that pointedly not looking at you, or that double glance, or little things here and there. You're not sure as to, you're not picking up any intent one way or the other, but you are noticing it every now and again. And but you're able to wend your way through the City of Splendors, and this area is a little bit. It's like I said, it's a nicer area, so you've got a fair mix of people. It doesn't have the same amount of rabble as you would have down at the docks, but it has. You are see there are beggars, maybe beggars of a higher class. You know, less pushy, less in your face. You are still seeing some people busking on the street corners, trying to make a copper here and there. The shops are of fair to middling area, where it's like, you know, it's not the cheapest stuff, but it's not the most expensive. It's like, you know, it's somewhere in between. You know, and you're seeing a fair amount of it's a nice mix of Waterdeep that you see in this particular area. Of people of many different cultures and stratifications, economic and social and otherwise, mingling in this specific area. And you finally get to the Temple of Bahamut, which is surrounded. So it's about a like a 50-foot or so square, almost like a park square, where the temple comes almost right up to the street. There's like a very thin strip of green grass growing around it, and it's this these white stones that are and it's I want to call it a 3-dimensional trapezoid. So I almost want to say, would that be some kind of like a trapezoid shaped prism type? In other words, instead of it being the walls are not 90 degrees, the walls are all tilted in. You know,
It sounds like you're describing a ziggurat.
yes, with a flat top.
That's a ziggurat.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
that can be a ziggurat.
Okay.
Ziggurats can be any shape, and they're all beautiful.
Yes. And on the corners, you can see that there's white obelisks that are on the two corners that you can see. You obviously can't see the back because, you know, large white temple in front of you, and you can't see over the top. It's about 60-70 feet high. Very imposing, but without without being overbearing. And as you look, you can see there is writing carved into the obelisks, and it looks faintly of gold in the inlay in the obelisks in the script, and And as best you could tell, there's no mortar in this. This is very, very cleverly fit together, all of the stones that make up the temple. And you can see that there is a door, to the front there that looks like it would be tall enough, Thunuk, for you to walk through without having to duck. Very well made, but very simple solid wood doors that are propped open now, so the breeze is able to blow in. And over the top of the cross piece of the door, there is a rendering in the stone that sits on top of that. There is a rendering of this great dragon that you can only assume to be Bahamut. But you can see that there's people that are like, walking around, and you can see that there's some, every now and again, you'll see like some, looks like they're students, doing sketches and all that. There's a couple that's standing very, very still in front with a very like plastered smile on their face while an artist across the street is drawing them. And it's like, so you can get your picture in front of the temple,
Mm-hmm.
because you got to do all the touristy things when you're visiting. But you can see that, and you can see it looks like you can get into the temple very, very easily.
Hey, Alexi, you remember that song I wrote? Don't mutter in the Temple of Bahamut because you might find yourself in the shutters. I gotta remember that one.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, well, we were pretty drunk. That's why I don't remember most of it either. I'll have to come up with the lyrics again on that.
Did you sing that one at the Tin Fairy?
There was a ferry somewhere.
Hmm.
I do remember a ferry.
Perhaps if we went drinking there, it might jog your memory.
It might come back. Yeah.
And it might not, because we might start drinking again.
Yeah, that's true.
And he looks.
Part of me wonders is if like the experience was the fairy's fault. Like, haha, mischief.
And Alexi looks at you, Thunuk. You look like you could put away quite a bit.
Do you drink, Thunuk?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not asking if you drink yourself, but I'm asking if you drink, I guess.
I don't understand the question.
Do you like booze?
Yeah. Do you drink beer?
I like beer. Beer's nice.
Okay.
How about you, little one? I don't believe we've had the pleasure of drinking.
I think we lost clues.
No,
she's
I see her
there.
blinking.
Sorry.
She's Drenmai is taken in by all the architecture.
You're standing so perfectly still, and your blinking was so subtle. I was like, I think your screen's frozen.
Drenmai is probably trying to figure out, how did they build this?
Bring it.
If I'm in like a really cool area, yeah, I'd be more trying to figure like I'm just looking at it. I don't even think I'm so much paying attention.
There's just a lot to take in. A lot of
There is a
stimulus.
lot to take in.
Lots of stimulus. All right, and so you make your way into the temple, and there's there's people, milling around looking, and you can see that there's people supplicating at the various little altars around, lighting a candle, saying a prayer, doing all the little things. And you can see that there is a dragonborn sitting in the front on a slightly raised dais. He's sitting there cross-legged. He's wearing, it looks like, some robes. Looks like some kind of priestly robes. And he's just sitting quietly watching all of the people. It is his scales are brass in color, with a little bit of like just a slight greenish tinge to them, as he's observing the various people.
The dragon has the greenish.
The dragonborn, yes, the dragonborn.
Do I recognize him?
You do
Is he
not.
copper?
Okay. approach the Dragonborn, and I just now is he looking at like the altar or something? Or
No,
where is he?
he's sitting down. He's looking
What's
at
he
all
looking
at the people. He's observing the
Oh.
people that are.
So he's watching out,
Yes.
and like we're coming towards. Okay, so I
Yes.
walk towards him.
Yes.
And I get up. I don't get too close, but I
Mhm.
get like to within like communication range, like
Mhm.
within about 10 feet or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, and I kind of do like I kind of like, is he looking at me, coming at him?
Well, he sees you come. Yeah, he's not.
He's
Yeah.
and I say, greetings.
Greetings. How may I help you?
I kind of look around. I'm looking for the King of the Dragons.
Do you have an appointment?
I think it's probably assumed. I'm gonna roll a persuasion check.
I was like, how do I adjudicate this?
I think it's just assumed.
It's just assumed that I have an appointment.
Yeah, I have a. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, that totally sucks. But wait a second.
But wait, I'm a bard.
But wait a second. That doesn't completely suck. That's a total of 16.
16.
I burned an inspiration on that.
Okay.
That's a 16.
Okay. So he looks at you. He closes his eyes for a moment. Yes, he is expecting you.
Thanks for checking.
Are you prepared?
I mean, is anybody ever really prepared for anything in life?
That is a good answer. Very well. Through this door, follow the rules.
Okay, and my friends can come too, right?
Of course.
Okay, cool. And
he shows you, he like points to a door that's kind of tucked around behind the altar. And you can pass through. And when you go through that, we are going to switch our scene now to a Hugon who is creating an unconscious wave of hate in front of him that is parting the crowds as he's walking. I think there's such determination.
Like an icebreaker for people.
Exactly, yeah. It's like sort of like whether people realize it or not, just the hate and disdain and disgust and anger
genuine unpleasantness
that's radiating off of him. People are unconsciously moving out of his way as he is stomping determinedly with purpose down to the docks. And so you make pretty good time getting down to the area.
All the crowds in New York don't even matter if you can just
move.
You can make great time anywhere.
Yeah. If you're angry enough or crazy enough, you can get anywhere you want pretty quickly.
Very quickly.
And for you, you've never been to Waterdeep before, but you use what knowledge you have of people, which is you know that there's going to be more bars and places like were described in a place of a lower income stratification. And you know that generally the lowest income stratification is where there is the most work. And you basically know that in Waterdeep, near water, docks, so you're just following your nose and you're going towards the harbor.
Every soldier knows that the docks are where you go to have a good time.
Even in the middle of the desert. There doesn't even have to be an ocean. There's a dock.
Doesn't have to be an ocean.
There's a dock.
Dock adjacent. Listen.
Someone just builds a dock and brothels and bars just spring up, just form out of nothing. So you follow your nose for the smell of the ocean. As you're getting to the harbor, it's a little bit more of a stagnant bay at low tide type smell, which Gideon might not know about, but Hugon would be able to interpret.
I understand the concept of low tide.
Yeah, it is not. It smells of bait, dried barnacles. I'm trying to. It's not a fantastic. It's a very briny. It's a heady smell.
Mm-hmm. It's not amazing.
Nah, it's not. It's dank. And so you're able to find your way down to this enormous, sprawling harbor, and you're able to, and you see there are ships that are at dock that are loading and unloading cargo as you're coming down. And so it's basically you're coming down a hill to this depression where there's this enormous harbor that many places could almost call a bay, but this is the Waterdeep harbor. Out along the far edge of where you can see there's like a ring of rocks that create the safe harbor, and you can see the battlements that have been built there. You can see this is a very defensible position. You can see why Waterdeep has not been taken by water. Usually that's a weak point for a city. You can see Waterdeep has this very well protected.
Yeah, the harbor of Waterdeep, the main harbor of Waterdeep, is a masterclass on seaside fortification.
Yeah, and you can see the various docks and piers that are spreading out and sprawling out like spider webs into the water that almost create a maze to navigate if you were trying to get a boat in there or a ship. And you can see even further out in the harbor are like the larger merchant vessels that are too large to dock at the piers there, and you can see the ferries moving back and forth. And then outside you can see the would it be the man of wars or the men of war? I don't know the plural of a man
of war. Ships of the line.
Yeah, large
naval vessels.
Yeah, exactly. Out there patrolling, flying the colors of Waterdeep. And as you're walking down, it's warehouses that you're passing by, and as you get down, the general population is getting more earthy, would be a way to put it. The beggars are becoming a little bit more bold, a little more brazen. There is a certain desperateness to their eyes that you didn't see when you first entered into Waterdeep. You get the impression that this would be an area where it'd be more likely for someone to knife you in an alley than in the neighborhood where you first emerged into Waterdeep. Where desperation leads to whatever actions are required.
Like I said, a good time.
It's a good time. But you also see a lot of it's a lot of working class people, men and women that are very stoutly built. They've at this point of the day they've probably stripped off whatever upper layers they've had, and they're wearing like jackets and shirts that are leaving their arms bare. And you can see many of them very well muscled from carrying heavy loads. But as you get down more, the people look more weather beaten. And occasionally you'll also see some merchants who are down there to do business. Maybe some people that look like they're more of the noble class. Their clothes are a little cleaner. They look like they've bathed recently. They don't look as malnourished. You do see some merchants that are wearing the trappings of nobility, but clearly are not. It's more of like a costume.
It's always fun to watch them to see how long it takes for all of that to go away.
It might be more of a case of where they're wearing it as a costume, because when you're dealing with certain company, you need to look the part, Yeah.
Sometimes looking the part gets you stabbed in an alley, though.
Sometimes it does. It's a chance you take. But you eventually get your way down closer to the docks, where as you get down at the docks proper, in addition to warehouses, it's like there's almost a 2-to-1 ratio. Excuse me, a 2-to-1 ratio for every warehouse there is down there. There are 2 places to purchase alcohol of some way, shape, or form. And you're in the place to party because it smells like old beer, old booze, vomit, and piss, and that's basically it. Smells like a frat house. But that is where you find yourself now.
Okay.
How would you like to continue your search for Zent the Unwise?
Well, I think the first thing that is important to figure out is there any arson happening at the moment?
Give me a perception roll.
It's 18.
You listen and you watch, and there is no active arson happening at that moment.
Okay.
But as we know, absence of proof is not proof of absence.
This is true.
It could just be, that there's not.
It's been handled already.
It's been You could be in between arsons.
Yeah, could be.
You're in that. You're in the trough between. You're in that trough between arson.
I'm a freelance arson. I'm in between jobs right now.
Commission's open.
Hey, setting stuff on fire. I just practice. It's important to keep your skills.
Yeah. Well,
put your name out there.
Put your name out there. You might do some fires for free, just for exposure. Just to. So people know.
Birthday parties.
Birthday parties, weddings, funerals.
I've got my Patreon.
Yeah. Hit me up.
For 3 coppers a month, we'll set you on fire.
We'll set fire in your name.
For 7 coppers a month, we'll put you out.
Glory to Kasuth. Let all the fires burn.
So you're right now you're in the slow period between fires. So you might need to find a different tack for discovering the whereabouts of Zent the Unwise.
If Zent has a reputation for burning shit down, he only probably has access to a very small number of bars.
Okay.
Because people will recognize him as, oh, you're the dude who set the bar on fire. We don't want you in here.
Mm-hmm.
But, like every good hive of scum and villainy, there are going to be places where either he can't set the thing on fire, or no one cares if he does. So those are the 2 categories of place that I will like to investigate.
Is this going to be a case of asking around, or are you going to be kind of cruising and doing like a Sherlock thing of examining the bars and determining which one is the most likely?
This is going to be a bar examination.
Okay. So we're going to see if you can pass the bar. Can you give me an investigation check, please?
Sure.
I like the fact that
I'm spending advantage on that.
Okay.
Note, please, that I'm spending advantage on that.
Okay. That brings you down to 0 charges.
Does it really?
It does.
That's a 17.
Give me 1 second here. But that brings me up to 6 charges. Oh, not 69 charges. That's a whole Happy Valentine's Day. So you take a moment. You probably start walking up. The way I envision this is that there's the dock side, where there might be in some places there might be a rail between the edge of the road and the harbor. Sometimes not. It's not. This is not an OSHA compliant workplace by any stretch of the imagination. And there's a wide road enough for 2 carts to pass each other with enough space to be pretty safely past each other without having to worry about one driving into the harbor. And this looks like it was built by design because there's a lot of commerce happening here, and you need to be able to have goods move as quickly as possible. So there's a certain distance between the edge of the harbor and the warehouses. So the warehouses are all of varying heights, 2, 3, 4 stories high. And you have all the bars and taverns and inns, and they're all kind of ramshackle. Some of them are slapped together with driftwood. Some maybe a little bit more sturdy. Some look like you could sneeze and they would fall over.
Right.
But as you start looking, you're able to start sussing out which bars would fit your. You start seeing which bars are going to fit the criteria that you have mentally set for yourself.
Okay.
The ones that are made entirely of driftwood are right out.
No,
They
of
would-
course. No.
You're essentially drinking in kindling at that point.
Yeah, and I
Um,
mean, like, the salt content of the wood might, like, slow it down, but, like, no.
Mhm.
Zim doesn't get to hang out in wooden buildings.
And you look at some of them and you look at the clientele that go in and you figure, you know what, there's some relatively respectable looking people going in and out of some of them, and someone who is a known arsonist, among other things, likely isn't going to be welcome in a bar like that if there's respectable business being done in some of these places.
Exactly.
And so you
Like, I'm expecting this bar to be in the sewer, essentially.
well, it's funny you should mention that, because every now and again you do see that there's like little walkways down, little stairways that walk down almost to where the harbor level, and you can see they're high enough so that at high tide the water wouldn't come lapping over the top, but there are large drainage pipes
Right.
that are approximately 6 feet in diameter, that allow water and whatever else to come draining down out of the rest of the city into the harbor. And you notice that sometimes you see people actually going down them, and so when you look and you see a few sailors, dock workers, stevedores that look like they might actually be of the type, because there's very honest people that there's very honest people that work the docks. These are not all bad people, but there are some folks that are a little shadier.
Bad people down there.
Yeah. And so you start doing a look and you see some of them that have the sunken knuckles from repeated fistfights. The ones that have the broken noses that have been broken repeatedly. Not just because a broken nose could simply happen on the job. You're looking for the person who's been in fights. The person who has scars. The person who has that look in their eye. Not the look of someone who's trying to get an honest day's wage done. This is someone who is out. The stuff during the day is just enough to pay for the beer and booze so they can go do the things they really want to do. You're looking for the mayhem causers. And you're able to see a couple of them walk down these set of slimy looking steps into, and you can see they're going into like what looks to be one of these pipes. And
Well,
should
that
you
looks like a delight.
or should you choose to follow them?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So you make your way down the steps.
We'll end up somewhere. And Zim might have to wait another day, but we'll find something.
You find the steps are a little difficult to navigate, being slippery, a little slimy and whatnot. But you go into this as you go into this essentially sewer pipe, and it smells like a sewer pipe because it's all manner of muck and just detritus coming out of this thing. But it's not like a thick flow. It's not to the point where you have to wade through it. You're able to kind of, if you wanted to, you could straddle it and not walk through this mire. And you can hear voices, and as you go a little bit further in, you can see an offshoot of a pipe, and you can see a door that some of these dock workers have gone into, and inside you can hear the sounds of what sounds like a tavern, what sounds like a bar.
A poo tavern.
The poo tavern.
It's a tavern adjacent to poo.
And as you go in, you can see that this opens up into a very large round pipe that looks like it might be 30 feet in diameter. And so you have to kind of walk down a little bit as it angles into this room. And you can see there is a bar. It is made entirely of metal, this surrounding room. You can see that the bar itself is made of stone. You see that the chairs the chairs are basically whatever they found. Chairs and tables are looking like they're found. Old
Salvaged.
Yeah, that the tables could be like old spool, old cable spools that are used for like dock lines. It might just be that it's an old sawn off piling is used as like one of the chairs or something like that. But you look at this bar and you think, this meets all the criteria. You would not be able to light this place on fire. It is dry. It is not. It doesn't. You're not smelling flammable liquid anywhere.
Right.
And it is just the kind of place where you might be able to find someone who likes to set things on fire.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to do some investigation and figure out which one of these reprobates is Zim.
Well, let's do another would it be perception or investigation? I think investigation, because you're actively looking.
Because I don't know what Zim looks like, so I can't
Yes.
look for him visually. I have
Yeah.
to
So again, it would be
ascertain that.
sussing him out.
15? No, 13. Sorry.
13.
That's a 7.
There's a few.
Very lucky. Very auspicious.
There are a few candidates that you see in there that have the look of someone who would like to set something on fire repeatedly. A bit of an off look. That aren't dressed either as workers or aren't dressed in a mercenary fashion. You figure if this person is someone who works with magics, they're not going to be dressed as a soldier.
Correct.
Or mercenary. So there are a few in there that would lend themselves to that description. And so you might need to do an investigation.
Sorry.
But before we do that investigation, let us do a swish pan back up to the Temple of Bahamut. One of those. And for the rest of our intrepid Team X, you find yourself walking down a hallway that looks like it kind of like it spirals up slowly to a floor somewhere above the altar. And it comes to a door. And on the door is scrawling, or not scrawling, but there's so this door is basically stone set within stone. So you come to an arched shaped door. It's the same white stone that everything else is made out of. And you can see there's obviously a door here, but there's no handle on it. And you can't see any hinges on it. And in various languages, there's writing on it. And it says on there in a language that all of you would be able to understand, regardless of what language you can read, because it's written in many languages. It's almost like a Rosetta Stone type situation. It says, "For those who seek the favor of Bahamut, you must prove yourself worthy of his audience. State your intention and enter."
Thunuk leans over to Eno and says, "I don't think we're dressed to meet royalty."
And then there's Dren at the bottom banging out the door. Let me in!
It'll be fine. Dren, it's this. This is a church. This is a church, right? Yeah.
Question mark.
So? And?
It said state your intentions. Can you not read that? It says state what you want. I want in. Dren, point A, point B. It's a line. Oh, you want this? What do you want? I want in.
So the sign just says state your intentions.
Mm-hmm.
It says, please state your intentions. I am looking for information about the Shadow Council.
And the letters, all the individual letters light up in a pale silver light, and then the door slides over to one side and allows you entrance into a room. Okay. The room is not. Would it be a hexagram? Is that 6 sides? Is it
Hexagon.
Hexagonal. Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. It leads you into a hexagonal room that is about 50 feet across. And as you walk in, the door slides closed behind you, and you can see a door on the opposite side of the room. And in this room, you see there are two brass statues facing each other. And they're both in the shape of brass dragons. And the on the door on the opposite side, were you to look at that, there's more writing in the door, and it says the art of conversation is underrated. So you find yourself in this hexagonal room with the two statues and the doors in there. Yeah.
So it says the art of conversation is underrated. Is that what it says?
That is exactly what it says.
Okay.
My dog agrees.
So, the art of conversation.
Can I do just like cast dancing lights? Like, I think it wants to just be entertained rather than words.
You can.
So I'll just cast dancing lights. Boop, ba-doop, ba-doo. How many do I get? Do I get 5? I think I get 5, don't I?
You have what now?
Oh, 4. I get 4 of them. So I get 4 torch-sized lights.
4 torch-sized lights that are now. You're throwing a little. You're throwing the one-woman rave.
Right.
To no effect. Nothing really happens. I mean, obviously the lights are dancing around the room.
I'm entertained.
So as these lights
for a minute, so for the next minute, I'm just gonna play with the lights.
So Eno sees the lights and he says, as these lights produce shadow, so I am attempting to find meaning in its counsel.
Nothing happens.
And he takes out his lute.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts playing. He starts playing the song that, like, he's sort of reproducing in his mind the song that he played not long ago in front of the portal to get the sigil. So he's kind of playing this sort of world tree jingle.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's playing, he says, someone dear to me was killed, and I want revenge.
And you're just saying this into the room?
Yeah, I'm just saying this, and I'm playing this song, and
give me a performance check.
Okay. That is a unnatural 20
and dirty 20.
Yeah,
nasty 20.
Dirty.
Dirty. It's dirty 20.
Dirty.
So you play the song, and nothing happens with the opposite door to open it or anything like that. But there you hear a resonance coming from both of the bronze dragon statues that are they're approximately as tall as Thunuk.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
and they're facing each other, and but as you do that, you hear there's a resonance from both of them, as if they might almost be not entirely solid.
The Shadow Council's time has long since passed.
Hang on, I have to tip my cauldron here.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Oof.
What happened?
Hang on, I gotta burn one of my charges here. Give me where's my DM charges here? So I'm gonna do this here. And hang on, I gotta do where's my dark inspiration? At the mention, you said the Shadow Council's time has come.
Has long since passed.
Long since passed. And as you say that, the light in the room dims, except for Dren's dancing lights. But the rest of it doesn't go out, but it dims, very much akin to when Gandalf was yelling at Bilbo in Fellowship of the Ring. I am not some conjurer of cheap tricks. Like where it just sort of like the light sort of like dims, and it feels almost like, or it seems almost like a storm almost starts to brew. You feel like a change in the pressure in the room, and wind starts whipping around at a very at first it's like just like it starts getting, it's windy, like okay, your hair is blowing, but then it picks up, and now I need you to make a strength saving throw.
all of us?
Everyone, yes.
Okay.
Everyone.
Okay, there, Gary Oldman.
Thank you for picking up on that.
Oh, good.
How could you not? It's like his most famous line.
Tell them we were doing our
Ooh.
jobs.
Well, it's a good thing I rolled a 19 because I get a +0 to strength
Okay,
saving
19.
throws.
All right.
I got a
Sorry,
whole 11.
you don't like Beethoven.
And 11. And Drenmai? Because she's a strong lass. Uh-oh.
She got a strong.
Get to add the strength. This is 14 still.
14.
It's
Okay.
respectable.
So, Eno and Drenmai are able to sort of like hunker down against this wind. Drenmai is able to make a small and like kind of like streamline through it, you know? And Eno, you're able to kind of lean into it and you get a very roguish look to you as your clothing is billowing behind you. You know, the wind, it's very heroic, like, you know.
My horns pierce the jet stream.
There's little contrails coming off of the thing.
Yeah.
Thunuk, it just takes you by surprise because inside there's not supposed to be wind like this.
Mm-mm.
This is
Wind
not
is an outside thing.
Wind is an outside
Wind
thing.
is for the outside.
And you slip and you're knocked down and you take 3 points of damage from being you basically you slip and you fall and you crack your head against one of the statues.
Oh,
The indoor wind surprises you. Like, oh, wind! Ah!
It's been a rough couple days for Thunuk.
the heavy breeze gets surprise sneak attack.
It does. Well, you got to figure. I mean, he went to an outside that had the inside in it, which was just wrong, and now he's on an inside and the outside is in it. So
No, it's actually a bunch of invisible stalkers. So y'all need to roll initiative.
but as this happens, as the wind is blowing, both of the statues start making a not a didgeridoo kind of sound, but it's more of a, it's wind blowing through a pipe, and it starts making almost like a reverberation, singing, resonating noise, and you can hear it almost sounds like the statues are talking to each other. And as that happens, the opposite door slides open, and you are able to, and right as it slides open, there is a the wind starts to die down, and then it dissipates, and you feel almost like a calm enter the room that wasn't that had been missing for a moment, and the lights come back to a normal temperature. Mm-hmm. And you are able to proceed out of this room.
Thunuk, are you okay?
Yeah. This is. Why is there wind inside?
I suspect that it's some kind of Arcana check. Can I do an Arcana check?
You can do an Arcana.
There may be some magic involved.
To see what I perhaps.
It's a kind of magic.
Oh, that's a 14 Arcana check.
Can I also help investigate?
Sure. You too can do an Arcana check.
I've got this plan in my head now.
Math is hard. That's a 23.
23. I mean, well, you're certain there was magic involved, You sensed.
I want to know where it came from.
So, as best you can figure, your song and your taunt evoked something, a reaction from something. This was a reactive thing. Drenmai, you sense the same things, but you think that there is actually two different entities at work here. You're getting two flavors. There is two flavors of magic here. There is the flavor that started the wind, and there is the flavor that stopped it when the door opened.
I want to do like lick my finger kind of thing and hold my finger up to the air and deduce all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're picking up on two.
And then lick the finger again. This tastes different.
It does. Well, it's a different tingle, right? It's a different. You're getting if magic, if Arcana checks, manifest as if they manifest as like a tingle or a sense. It's basically you're getting two different spices there.
Okay.
You're getting the one in the lips, and then you get the one at the back of the throat, and it's just two different things. Do I sense any good or evil, or any variant of? That I would want you to do an insight check to get a little bit deeper into that.
What's my insight? Okay. Nope. That'll be a total of a 5.
Yeah, you're not able to. This is a case of, and I think it's more because, would it be more that like Drenmai is like magic is neither good nor evil. It's just a force, and it depends how it's used. Electricity can be good because it can power things. Electricity can be bad because I can shock people to death.
Yeah, I think you're giving a lot more depth than what would be her current action of with these lights.
You are inferring a great deal.
Yeah.
You're picking up on two different uses of it, but you're not picking up any intent from either side of it.
That's fine.
But you're able to leave the room.
Okay. Yeah, so just says, I think there was some kind of magic. And he sees Dren like tasting the air and stuff. And it's like, yeah, it's magic. But shall we? He checks also to make sure Alexi is still with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm assuming Alexi didn't fall over, or if he is in the room, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. He's omnipresent. We just forget he's there. He's minding his own business.
I'm trying not to forget. I'm I'm bad at remembering NPCs at the best of times. So he starts walking towards the. Do I notice anything weird? Like, do I see? There's nobody. What does it look like as I'm approaching the door?
Mm-hmm.
Does it look like I'm going to be going into a room? Can I see? Is there any light?
Yeah, I mean there are more torches lit along the way, and this is a curved hallway. It looks like it might be going around the room, like so it's basically steps, landing, steps, landing, steps, landing. It looks like it's around the outside of this room you were just in, going up to another floor above it.
Okay, yeah, because I was just double checked. I do have dark vision.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I go through the door. You said there were steps.
Yes,
Okay, so I go. They're going up?
they are going up.
Okay.
So you guys,
so
we're gonna do another swish pan here, back down to the docks, and we've got to figure out which one Hugon is going to speak to first. He had determined there were 3 potential candidates for this, for who might be Zent the Unwise.
Trying to remember what the Minotaur said about Zem in specific. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't mention anything about what he looked like, but behavioral is what I'm really looking for.
Mm-hmm. Intelligence check to do a remembering.
Yeah, to do a remember.
To do a remember.
I don't remember. And so, instead of remembering, Hugon will do what Hugon does best, and he will cause problems.
Okay. And
He
how will
will-
this manifest?
He will find the most dangerous looking one,
Mm-hmm.
and he will sit at
Social
the table.
disturbance.
How is he defining? I'm curious. How is he defining dangerous? Is it like this guy's got the most scars? This guy
No.
looks the most bent. This guy.
I think most dangerous is the guy that everybody is avoiding.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Give me a. All right.
That would be visual if you need me.
No,
to
that's
roll.
fine. I think I'm fine with that. Okay. So you find there is one that is sitting in the corner. He's got a big old flagon of something. You're not sure what's in there. And there you can see that there is definitely like a moat around him of there's a healthy berth between him and the other people.
And I want to make sure that it's not because he stinks. Like,
Well,
this birth-
if you were to approach, you could
this
do
is
it.
a danger birth, not a stench birth.
You could do a sniff check when you get a little bit closer.
Okay, noted.
But you're not picking up on anything more than the usual odor. Nothing more than the usual odors in a land where there is no deodorant and people don't bathe regularly. So.
And we're in a fucking sewer.
And yeah, and well, there's that whole other layer.
Yeah.
And no, it's not that. This appears to be, as best you can tell, a danger moat as opposed to a.
Well, I cross the danger moat, unheeding of its danger or moat, and
Mhm.
then I sit at that table.
Oh, a new guest. How may I help you? You look interesting. What happened to your face?
Don't worry about it. Are you Zem?
It
Because
depends who's
I
asking.
have to confess that it would be a very good thing if you were Zem.
Well, that would depend on who's asking, wouldn't it?
Oh, I'm just a little person looking to cause a lot of trouble very quickly.
You're not a constable, are you? Because if you are, you have to tell me.
And Hugon gestures to the mask. He's like,
No, they wouldn't wear a flesh mask like that. Zent the Unwise at your disposal. How may I help you with chaos today?
Do you have access to a sphere of annihilation?
Oh, no foreplay or anything, is there?
I'm not interested in foreplay or anything. This is business.
Oh, you're no fun?
Trust me, I can be a lot of fun. Just right now, I need answers, and I've had a lot of.
Well,
Setbacks.
you need answers, but I, and he chugs the rest of his drink, need another drink, so perhaps we should start there. Barkeep! And, like a bartender, yes? We got, oh, he's raising his hand, I don't know. And bartender very, like, timidly comes over and, like, pours him another drink.
As if he might himself burst into flame.
And we shall... Yes, I think we can talk a little bit more. But we can talk after the break, because we are at our break period right now.
Break is good.
For the folks who are watching us, thank you very much for joining us. We will be back right now. We will be right back after a break where we take care of the things that need to be taken care of. And we'll be back with more Dungeons & Dragons. So everybody, please stay tuned. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are back. We are
Hi, Doctor.
back with some more.
Play some Durgadans and Drundradans.
Yeah, and play some dungeons, and we've already had a little bit of Dragons and Dungeons, so let's get to some other stuff. Now, we're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons here. Brief recap. Eno and Dren and Thunuk are currently trying to seek the favor of Bahamut and his temple, and have passed through a room. There are probably more rooms coming. I don't know. In an attempt to curry an audience with Bahamut. And meanwhile, Hugon is on his mission to try to find a way to destroy an artifact that was given to him by the Red Lady, and has met with Zent the Unwise at a sewer tavern, a sewer bar, quite literally a dive bar, in the dock area, in the harbor area of Waterdeep. And that is where we had left use words, Brian. That is where we had last left our scene, with Hugon having a conversation with this unkempt, unruly-looking person who he has sat down at the table with. And I realized I neglected to describe Zent. And when you see Zent, he has he looks a little unkept. Not necessarily unhygienic, but unkept. Hair's a little wild, but not so much that it's like, it's not Doc Brown level unkept, but it's definitely out there. Very thin, pointed features, sharp features on his face, very well-defined cheekbones, excellent bone structure. But his eyes are almost they're so brown that they're almost black. Mm-hmm. And deep set, and pointed chin, and he's got a bit of a beard there, but it looks like it's kept relatively trimmed. But other than that, he would be very unassuming to look at in terms of like the robes that he is wearing. He's not looking like someone who like carries himself ostentatiously.
He doesn't look like he's Zent the Unwise.
Yeah, exactly, because you don't want to look like that guy. So maybe he's a little wiser than we thought he was. But he has just downed one giant flagon of some alcohol or another, and the barkeep has brought him another. And what was interesting is that the bartender, who he himself looks quite thuggish, someone who's not unfamiliar with getting into fistfights, very stout, broad-shouldered man who looks like he could very easily toss someone out on their ear if need be. And it probably happens given the clientele that you're seeing at this particular bar. But for some reason, he approached Zent almost like timidly, almost like you were approaching a wild animal. Like if you have it's like you see the alligator and you need to put the raw chicken near the alligator, but you don't want to get too close.
No, then you get close and you jiggle the alligator's enormous cheeks. And you just go, who's a good alligator?
Which is something that Zent the Unwise might do. But most people would probably say, I don't want to get too near that alligator. So it's kind of like, and he has, and he goes, well, seeing as how you're not going to be any fun, let us talk a little bit about how I can help you. An Sphere of Annihilation. Don't think I have one of those. What is it you're trying to destroy?
And Hugon pulls out the bracer and sets it on the table. This is a divinely wrought, for lack of a better term, prediction engine. And it is, quite frankly, an affront to the natural order of the universe. And I would like it destroyed utterly.
Ooh, may I have a look at it?
You certainly can look at it, yes.
I look at my hands. If that's okay, I get a little grabby with things like this. Oh, it's so shiny.
Yes, well, let me be very, 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 very clear. This will be destroyed, and I don't want you to get the wrong idea and decide to use it, because then that will make us not friends.
Why would I not want to destroy something?
I'm making things clear.
Which
I want things to be clear.
Which divine entity made this, if I may ask?
The Red Knight.
Oh, we can destroy everything she touches. She's too much about order. Ugh. And she snatches up the bracer, and he starts looking at it, and he's like, he looks through it, like a cardboard tube, and he's like, ugh, this is a disgusting thing. It's a thing of order. It's a thing of. And you want this destroyed? How quickly? I can destroy it right now, but how much collateral damage are we allowed?
It would be best if there was very little collateral damage, because then the wrong people might not learn about it until it's too late.
Oh, that certainly provides a bit of a challenge, then. Otherwise, we just destroy it right now, and it's gone. But I suppose there's a point that we would get rid of some fine drinking establishments, should I do it that way. Otherwise, we would just turn this into a giant fireball. And he examines it some more, and he's like feeling it. He licks it once.
This is an experience that Hugon finds distressing because this man is like Drenmai in his mind, and that is deeply aggrieving.
Well, the best way to destroy something is to find its opposite. How much do you know about matter and antimatter?
I mean,
Don't
I
worry
know
about
that
it.
they cannot occupy the same space at once.
What we need, if you don't want me to just blow it up, we need to find something that is its opposite. Something that would counteract it. Then we can minimize the collateral damage.
So,
But
we need an
again, if
artifact
if damage is of no concern,
it's not so much the collateral damage; it's that I want it done correctly, and I want it done utterly. Like it needs to be gone, reduced to nothing.
oh, that is my specialty.
Okay,
But
well,
as I mentioned, it seems like you don't want me to just throw this bracer here into that city over there and then have no more Waterdeep. So we have to find something that is its opposite.
well, there are plenty of artifacts of chaos out there.
Not just chaos of its exact polar opposite. Whatever the Red Lady stands for, you must find something that is antithesis to her existence. She stands for order, chaos. She stands for a war, peace, perhaps.
No,
Logic and
is that
reason.
the objective that this bracer is trying to achieve is peace.
But
On a
by
planar scale.
By what means is the question. The ends don't always justify the means, unfortunately. I tell you what, if you
I'm not. It's not that I don't know what to say. It's that I hate talking to you.
You and so many others. I prefer it that way. I tell you what, find something that could equate to its polar opposite. Something that is the antithesis of the very existence of this thing. And then contact me, because then we can have some fun. We should also probably find a very large field that doesn't have many people around, or people you don't care about if they die. Can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
Hugon takes the bracer and then sighs very deeply because this is the individual he has to suffer through, and proceeds to just leave and figure out how, one, he's going to probably handle most of the work of this himself, and two, how how good Zim really is.
Toodles!
Yeah.
And with that sigh, we swish pan back up the hill to the Temple of Bahamut. Because I think that'd be good. There's a Hugon, like... It was exhausting. And to our other intrepid heroes who you walk up to your next... You go up a few flights of... a few landings of these steps. Like as I mentioned before, appear to be built around the outside of this hexagonal-shaped room. And you get up into another room. Similar doorway coming in. This doorway's open. You walk in. White stone everywhere. door slides shut behind you. And this time there is a bronze dragon, a statue of a bronze dragon. Again, approximately Thunuk sized. But this one is very elegantly wrought in detail with the wings are spread wide, and the face is contorted into this roar, and it looks like this is a dragon that's prepared for battle. And there's an inlay in the floor around it, and it just says a pledge to fight tyranny. And then underneath that it says a pledge of an eternal bond.
When you say these are statues of bronze dragons, do you mean they're statues of dragons made of bronze, or
yes,
oh.
It is a statue made of bronze of a bronze dragon.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Bronze on both sides of that equation.
And there's only one dragon in this room.
There's only one dragon in this room, and it has these sharp, snarling teeth, and again, these it looks like it's mid roar, and it just looks like this is a dragon that is prepared to fight battle. It has that tenseness, that posture of about to go into a fight.
Okay. How brightly lit is this room? Is it like kind of normal? Is it kind of dark?
I'd say normal.
Normal.
Normal lumens.
And what else is in the room? Like, are there candles? Are there what is it lit with?
There are torches, like sconces along the walls to have the room lit, and then there's another door on the opposite side. It's very much the same configuration as the previous room. It appears that the only difference is this statue and the inlay in the floor.
I am going to use prestidigitation to snuff out all the torches around the room.
Okay.
So I just start pointing at the torches, and I say, as I'm snuffing all the torches out, I say the Shadow Council has become tyranny, and I pledge my eternal bond to destroy it.
And you're doing this as each light goes out.
Has Eno mentioned the Shadow Council in front of us before?
Before today, anyway? Don't believe so.
I can't remember.
I don't think he's had specific conversations about it. He's asked questions to people about it kind of surreptitiously, so it might have been like you've heard the words on his lips before, but there's never been like this is the first time you've actually seen him, probably the first time you've seen him like vehemently behind his words like this. Most of the time, if I may speak on Eno's behalf, from what I've seen, he's been a pretty jovial, laid back, book stealing kind of guy. Right?
A little petty thievery.
Yeah, petty thievery.
Never hurt anybody.
Who has a moral compass, but you've never seen absolute vitriol from him before. Even when he got into his war of words with the with the one stone giant when you got right before you guys destroyed their enclave, before you destroyed their fortress. Even then, there was not like a vitriol, right? It was more of a, no, I'm just gonna serve you up, right? But if I'm interpreting this correctly, there's some give me a performance check. Yeah, let's do that. Let me see a performance check out of.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, just to kind of give you an idea, yeah, he's serious. I mean, this is you've probably not seen him this serious before.
It's not even the whole word serious. It's SRS.
Yeah, this is SRS.
Capital
This
S.
is SRS.
While he's doing that, can I do a history check to see if I've heard anything about the Shadow Council, so I can maybe just try and figure out, since it seems like Eno's kind of into it. I don't want to really bug him right now.
Certainly.
That's a 22 performance check.
Okay, 22 performance, and let's get that history check in.
24.
24. All right, let's start with that first, and then we'll adjudicate the things that Eno is doing. So, 24 Shadow Council.
Yeah. Just if I've heard any rumors or if I've had any dealings with it, I don't know, anything. Basically.
So, in your many years, you have always heard of secret societies. It's not an uncommon thing. You also know you live in a world where some of these secret societies exist. I mean, let's face it, we live in a world. This is a world of magic, right? So it's very possible and likely that some of these secret societies exist, and some of them are just made up because it's an easier way for people to interpret the world around them when things aren't going their way. You know, oh, the Illuminati. The reason why the world sucks is because of these rich people over here. It's three people control the world. Lizard people live below the earth, you know.
And their war with the mole people.
The flesh-eating Molochs. But through the years, you've heard stories of the Shadow Council before. And it seems to be a recurring theme, which leads you to believe that there's probably a little bit more truth to those stories than maybe some of the other ones. And you seem to remember Grandmama Gemweaver mentioning, maybe in passing, maybe you know what it was? Drenmai was probably eavesdropping one night when she was a little girl.
Yeah, or something. Oh.
And Grandmama Gemweaver had people over to play bridge.
Okay.
And you had gone up to bed because it was your bedtime. And then her friends came over for coffee and for cards. And you had snuck down a little bit because you wanted to know what the grown-ups were doing. Because it was very mysterious that it was happening after you went to sleep. And you remember there being some people there, and remember her talking, and you seem to remember her mentioning something about the Shadow Council. And there being that your Grandmama Gemweaver was concerned that it was a group with good intentions but ill-met means.
Okay.
And that her concern was that the ends do not justify the means, that the means matter. And she was saying that she was pissed. She was griping, as she does, as Grandmama Gemweaver does, about them sticking their damn fool noses in where they don't belong. And you knew there was a few times where she was saying things like, "Oh, bless their heart," and you know what it means when Grandmama Gemweaver says, "Bless your heart."
Yeah.
So there is some memory. So you are aware of that. As far as like more deep detail, you haven't had direct contact with them, but
I was thinking, if I found that out when I was younger, would I have heard any additional things when I was at home base working at AI headquarters?
Again, rumor and supposition abounded because, you know, that's what happens at corporate America, or corporate Faerun, corporate Acquisitions Incorporated. And there was always a very solid rumor that Omen Dren had some shady dealings with, no pun intended, had some shady dealings with something called the Shadow Council. Whether this is all tied to the same organization or not is difficult to suss out. But you do know that there was... Give me an insight check. I have an idea here, but it matters if you can pass an insight check.
Well, I get like advantage on insight check.
Well, good. What was it?
My D20. I'm proficient on insight.
Proficient.
Meh. I rolled a 17 and an 18.
17 and 18.
So 21.
21. You remember some of the Skunkworks projects that you were working on and overseeing with some of the other artificers. And I'm trying to think of what one of them might have been. One of them, you know, because you didn't always see the entire project. Some of the projects were very compartmentalized because they didn't want to know. They obviously didn't want everyone to know what the finished project was.
Sure.
And I'm sure that both intrigued and annoyed Drenmai, not knowing all the things that were being made. But you seem to remember one particular project that involved attuning a gem to the abyss, ostensibly for protective purposes.
Okay.
But you're not. But you never were able to uncover the rest of the project. But based on all that, and some of the other like notes you remember you received about it, there's something that's tickling your memory about the Shadow Council and this project that you had worked on at corporate when you were working at the Acquisitions Incorporated Skunkworks.
Okay.
So, now Eno, you've snuffed out the lights and you have made your declaration, and the room has gone dark. And as you do that, though, there is a deep, almost satisfied growl that emits from this statue of the bronze dragon. And the eyes glow blue in the dark. And there is a slight light coming from the mouth of it. And it's, like I said, the sound is more of a... It's very satisfied with what you have said. But you still feel that there is a step missing here to complete what this statue is asking for.
I get down on my knees in front of the statue, and I say, I was once a follower of Timora, but perhaps dragons are more to my liking.
You see the mouth widen just a little bit, and the light inside the mouth grows by a small order of magnitude. And you can see now, engraved inside the mouth, it says, "Seal your pledge." Okay.
I spit in his mouth. No.
Okay.
Tui.
No, I don't know.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I was thinking it was a giant stapler, but okay.
Seal your pledge in the mouth.
I think it wants blood, whispers Dren from somewhere from some corner for some reason.
And
I'm just going off. Wait, can I actually legitimately recommend that? Because I've had a lot of dealings with dragons.
Sure.
What do I have to roll?
You just declare that I have lots of dealings with dragons. You've had one.
Well, no, that's an old friend. Not to mention, we still haven't delved into Razi's history.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Give me another history check specific to your query of dragons.
Okay, a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You know that bronze dragons are vehement opponents of tyranny and root it out wherever they can find it. And once they have taken a pledge to do so, they do so until the tyranny and evil has been destroyed or until their own death. They are very loyal to that cause. So it would not strike you as odd that a bronze dragon would be looking for something like a blood oath to uproot tyranny. So you making that suggestion.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear this like little voice behind me, and I go, "What did you say, Dren? What did she say?"
I think it wants some blood.
Okay. And my eyes kind of start to widen a little bit, but then I nod and I take out my dagger and I cut like my hand, like my thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And I stick my hand, I walk up to the statue and I stick my hand, and the drops of blood start dripping onto the teeth of the mouth.
And as it does so, you hear another satisfied from deep within inside this statue. It's not, but you don't feel fear for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
All of you actually feel almost like a protective blanket with this growl. For some reason, it's almost as if you have this vision in your mind of now.
I can test this comfort.
You can test this comfort?
I can test this feeling of comfort.
Well, you almost have a vision in your mind of this dragon standing in front of you, but facing away, as if whatever evil lurks in front of you, the dragon is saying almost, you got to get through me first. And when your blood drops in, the torches relight, and the door on the other side of the room slides open, and you see a similar staircase leading up to the next floor.
Excellent.
Swish pan back over to Hugon. Yay, split party. Hugon, so you have left this dive bar.
Mm-hmm.
What is
and like very frustratingly thinking like, why wouldn't a sphere of annihilation just work? Why couldn't he just do that?
Any number of reasons why.
I mean, apparently.
First,
try the opposite.
You got to get one. You got to first. You got to find the parts. Then you got to make it. And
I should have killed him.
I mean, you did have a pretty good Arcanum wielding person in your party that you.
I'm not going to talk to you because I hate you. Nope. No, I don't want you involved with this. And even if I didn't like you, and I don't.
Which I don't. So what is
That's the end of the story. If I didn't like you, and I don't, that's the end of the story.
Yeah. No, there's no more to that. So what is Hugon's plan now?
I guess. All right. I have to take a brief moment.
Should I go back to the other group?
No,
Okay.
it's gonna take like 10 seconds.
Okay.
Just need to.
Because we can do this. We can fill the
Just
dead air.
got to find the right pantheon. It's been a long time since I've looked at.
Looking at the various gods of the Forgotten Realms.
I haven't played a cleric in like 20 years, so.
And there's so many to choose from.
Yeah, and because of Faerun's
the god of salt,
silly fuckery about the domain system, you have to kind of like just.
There's the god of pie.
If you look at if you look at the war domain, there's 35 deities across a number of pantheons.
The god of baskets.
You know,
it's a lot of gods.
Well, listen, there's a god for everything. You never know when you might need one. You say that, but then when you need the god of baskets and he's not there, or she's not there, or they're not there, I mean, what are you going to do? I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to invent one.
It's true.
Hey, this bad thing happened. Which one of the gods? We don't have one for that. Make one up.
Make one up.
Zeus banged his sister, and then they got this one. All right, cool.
Yes. Zeus turned into an ant and said, "Are you fucking serious?" Well, look, he did it. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
So Poseidon turned into a bull and had sex with that lady over there, and then they had a minotaur. Because, you know, genetics. Good.
Hugon will go and try to find a deity opposite of the Red Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, there's a couple that are kind of her polar opposite. Probably, I mean.
So let's hear that. What are some of the options here that we have at our disposal?
Well, Grumsh.
Okay. God of war, but also a god of chaos.
And also the patron deity of the Orcish people.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Garagos. He is a god of war and used to be an exarch of Tempus, another god of war. But Garagos' domains are destruction.
Mm-hmm.
He is chaotic and evil. Tempus is chaotic and neutral. He's the god of war. He is more concerned with honorable battle. Lolth is on here. Torm, Tyr, Uthgar, Valkyr, Vandira, Gilmadurth, Thrym, Tharmakul, Tethrin, Svetarm, Sekol, Raman, Odin, Maglubiet, Bane.
I will be the Forgotten Realms Reckoning.
Esselis, Gaedril Ironhand, Gorm Golthian, Helga Brightaxe, Deep Dura, Corel and Lathan.
There's a lot to...
Like I said, dude, there's 35.
There's a lot to choose from. So I'd be finding something...
And her...
So let's do this. Give me a religion check. Let's do this first.
Where's my dice?
And actually, let me find...
17 on the die. Jesus, I don't think I'm good at... I think it's just a normal 20. A dirty 20.
A dirty 20. Man, let me see here. I'm trying to remember which one of these has the list of deities for 5th edition. Plans of existence.
Some of these aren't going to be in 5th edition.
Well, that's okay.
Keep that in mind.
That's okay. We're going to look at... Come on. I don't need the spells. We're done with the spells. For once, we don't need spells. Let me see here. So, we are looking for probably someone on this. I think this might be... I just like the name, but that wouldn't work for us. I think we have found it. And as I'm looking at this, so you do your religion check, and you think that the problem with some of the gods in the domain of war is that they aren't necessarily the polar opposite of the Red Lady, because her domain is still one of war as well, even though her ends, as you know them right now, are to end war. Mm-hmm. She is still in the domain of war. It's just that she is one of tactics. So you need to go somewhere on the chaotic side of thing, where she wants to have things to be neat and orderly and predictable. You think that the way that you need to go to find something is of more of a primordial god that you remember hearing some of the barbarian tribes in the mountains potentially still worshiping. That people of honest folk, civilized folk, wouldn't go near this with a 10-foot pole. Bishaba.
Oh. Wait, Bishaba's the god of bad luck.
Of misfortune and trickery. And you think that more closely aligns to the opposite of what the Red Lady is looking for, because she is looking for is order.
She's taking luck out of the equation.
Exactly. And so...
All right, well, I guess Bishaba's the way to go then.
Now, I could be argued into another one. I'm not going to say that is the one.
I'm not mad about Bishaba. It makes sense. Everybody needs luck, and when you take luck away, you're actually really pissing off a couple of very powerful deities.
Yes, and
Timora probably wouldn't even be very happy about this.
Probably not, because luck still implies chance. And right now, you would think that probably as a normal state of affairs, if you're just to wax on this, as you're walking through the streets of Waterdeep plotting your next move, you would probably think that on the best of days, under normal circumstances, Timora and the Red Lady probably aren't... they don't hate each other, because the Red Lady would recognize that there is an element of luck in achieving battle success. And Timora is going to realize that planning can best help increase the odds of good luck. But there's still some things there where one's hoping to minimize the amount of luck needed, and the other one is just purely about, hey, good things happen because I said they do. But in the case of, but you think in this case that, Timora probably wouldn't be happy. But Bishaba, you think, is probably just being a being of almost, it sounds like, from what you remember hearing of rumors and supposition made by civilized folk in Cormyr of what the wild people of the mountains might be doing and the wild people in the wilderness might be doing. That Bishaba almost seems to be like just pure chaos, and just, it could almost be used as a curse. You think you remember something, Bishaba take you, being like a curse that you would cast upon someone in wanting them to have nothing but bad luck. But you do know that you would be very unlikely to find a shrine of any kind like that within Waterdeep.
Underwater deep.
Underwater, yes. And I will say that you would know about it through your grandfather. That your grandfather had spoken to you of...
letters. I think think his grandfather was kind of not around, but yeah.
But but you remember there was the last letter was that he was in Skullport, and there was things happening in. We said Skullport. I think I'm going back to like 3 years ago when you wrote this stuff. That there was that you
Skullport in general, and then
it's not the what is it called underneath there? It's
Undermountain.
Undermountain. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you are aware of its existence. So that would be your best hope to do so, to find what you are looking for, because in knowing things as you did, whenever like weird cults like that ever sprung up like in a city, it was almost like immediately root that thing out, because you knew that terrible bad things would happen if like if a cult of Bahamut were to be opened up somewhere. It was like, no, burn that thing out of existence.
Problem. Fix this now.
Yeah. There's a lot of leeway for what you're allowed to, who you're allowed to pray to, but at a certain point, it's like, no, you can't pray to the god of murder. That's a bad thing.
I wanna. You're not allowed. But I wanna. No.
And knowing stories that you have, give me one more history check.
Sure.
One more, just one more. It'll be the last one you ever have to do.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, that's good because it's a 22.
I lied.
Damn it!
That's what I do as a first rule, dungeon master.
You're a bad person.
Knowing what you do know of the Undermountain from rumors that you've heard from people, because the Undermountain is not an like unknown thing. You know, there's the whole yawning portal thing. You do know it is an incredibly dangerous place that you would not want to venture into alone. That even given your prowess that you have seen and as you have grown in your skill, you do know that at a certain point it is prudent not to walk in to a situation like that, being the only blade that you have with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, you do remember that as well.
Okay. Well, that's a problem because now I have to convince these jokers to come with me to Undermountain.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's things to draw. Listen, if you as much as Hugon
and Hugon has a brilliant idea. What if he vanishes? Maybe they'll have to come looking for him. Ha-ha!
Okay, so you have that, right?
That's a terrible idea. That's I want to stress that is a bad idea. Not good.
You know that Dren is attracted to shiny things. And as much, I would imagine, I think we've discussed this before, as much as Hugon does not like Drenmai, he also knows that if you aim her like a gun,
in very specific instances,
she is a very effective flamethrower.
True.
Literally. So as much as he doesn't like her, we also know that he's seen her usefulness in battle.
Yeah. Him not liking her is secondary to the fact that she's useful.
Yes, and Eno's a pretty easygoing guy. He is. He is. And you know how useful he is in battle. So it would just be a matter of, if he knew his friends were in danger, and he did express to you during our last session, which would game time be just a few hours ago, just a little communication goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
And for him, it just might be, hey, well, actually, him and Thunuk could be, hey, I could use your help. Sure. Drenmai, they're shiny things. And you get to light fires. Do you want to blow things up?
Thunuk has very little to do during this whole thing that Eno's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine now is about when he's wandering around trying to figure out what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to radio in via the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna, hey, Hugon, did you get anything to eat? You should probably get something to eat. Because he's concerned that he hasn't been eating.
He hits the button. Hey, Thunuk, I know where there are spiders.
Are they good spiders?
They're enormous spiders.
Oh. Okay. So we have to cook the spiders ourselves?
It's you hunt them and then you get to eat. It's like a yeah.
It's an experience. It's an urban tourism experience.
Having not seen a single. Well, actually, no. Hold on. He responds back. But there's no trees or anything here. How are they having big spiders?
They're underground spiders. Cave spiders.
Very quickly, he responds, "Those are the best kind."
Yeah, I know. And
There's trees here.
yeah, there are trees in Waterdeep.
Well, I'm sure there's like a tree or like a park or something like that. But
There's whole wards that are park.
There's no forests.
Well, it's true.
We haven't really walked in through anything like that. I imagine.
Oh my god.
It's like every tree in New York City is confined to Central Park. It's like, this is where all the trees are. No trees anywhere else.
Hey, I'm in Manhattan. There's trees. We know where you are. There are very few places where you could be. You're in one particular place. You said plural of tree. You're in the yeah.
Oh my god. So now, Thunuk, you're still with everyone, right? So okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you're radioing in as you're going up the steps.
He's got very little to do while Eno's doing his thing. He's just like sitting there watching. It's like, I hope Hugon's okay because he was gonna go
drinking.
He's gonna get drunk and he hasn't eaten anything at all today, and that's not good for you.
I'm just amazed. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Anyway, as Eno and Thunuk and Dren make their way up the steps to the next level, you come into a very similar room as you have before. Hexagonal room, door shuts behind you. This time, there is a statue made of copper of a copper dragon. And the dragon is doing a sad. The statue looks sad. It does not look. It looks unhappy. And scrawled, or again I say scrawled. That's the wrong word. Engraved in the stone on one of the walls, it just says, "Laughter is the best medicine."
Okay,
I want to do a snack.
So
Okay.
Trent's gonna sneak. All right.
If I have to roll for it, I will.
Yeah, you do have to roll for it because you're in an empty room.
24.
24. Okay.
I just lost my d20.
And what are you snacking on?
I'm snacking up behind Thunuk so I can tickle him.
Okay.
We're about to establish whether or not Thunuk is ticklish.
And whether his response to being tickled is violence or laughter.
Roll for tickle.
Roll. Dexterity check. Yeah, I think
dex tickle. Dex ticklish.
Dex ticklish check. Yeah, I think that tickling would be a dex check, Dren.
Okay.
To see, because that's it's like really advanced and aggressive pickpocketing, essentially. So I'm gonna say.
I mean, I could do sleight of hand if you want.
That seems like that would apply.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would, because you got to get to the ticklish spots.
Okay. 19.
Is this an opposed check, like versus my constitution or something?
Hey, I did a snack for a reason. So
I
if
think
this is a surprise attack.
Yeah, this is a surprise attack. That
But
hits.
how affected is he by it? Is there like an AC for being ticklish?
That feels like a Constitution check.
I think it'd be a Constitution check, which we've said is strength, right? That's not its own.
No,
Is it its own?
Constitution.
Constitution has its own abilities.
Why did I forget that? Man, that was okay. Yeah, Constitution
That's okay.
check.
Nobody ever uses it
Apparently, it's
unless you get drunk. That's the only time.
yeah, it's really the only time.
Yeah.
Poison or drunkenness,
Or
but they're really
poison,
the
yeah.
same thing. One's just recreational.
Exactly. That's true.
Poison is just alcohol that you've drank too much of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or the other way around. But yeah.
So I'm rolling then?
Yeah, it measures health, stamina, and vital force. Important for everyone. Okay.
And so I guess the thing would be you either get advantage if you don't think Thunuk is ticklish, or you get disadvantage if you think he's ticklish.
It depends. Where are you tickling him?
I think this matters.
Yes.
I think I would be doing, since I'm small, so I'm trying to get the most bang for my buck on this. It'd be the snack up the back, and then try
Right for the back of the knees.
No, because I'm gonna climb up. So I think I'm gonna go for the underarm, but then also get like that top of the shoulder necky area, and go like.
And that has to be the noise too, right?
Oh yeah, there's gonna be noise because I'm gonna be way over the top, like little gremlin creature climbing up your back. Going, yeah, tickle.
I think for this, I think it would be a Constitution check at disadvantage because of the sneak. Because you're not ready for it. Like if you're ready for it, you can start to tense up and be like, "No, you're not gonna tickle me." But if you're completely not ready for it,
All right. Well, had it been at advantage, it would have been a 17, but it's a 7.
Yes,
Thunuk is ticklish.
I love that Thunuk.
Now, what is his response? Is his response to flail wildly and backhand and ah? Whack!
Yeah, what is Thunuk's response?
I think he since he is a tall individual, and usually when something were to get him up here, it means that he must lower himself to avoid something that is getting at him. So he drops and does this little. At first it's like the boa is more of a yelp, like something is attacking me, and then he's hearing the sounds of amusement and it's continuing. It goes a wee.
My private hope would be he would go spider and then spike her into the earth and be like disappointed when he found it wasn't a spider. Be like, oh.
Eno, do you play anything into this, or are we just gonna?
Well, I was picturing like reading that, and then so as Dren, and he doesn't see any of that, but as Dren is starting to sneak around, I think what Eno is doing is he's got his lute and he starts like thinking about me like a song, and he like strikes like a chord. He gets like one chord into playing, and then you hear this and then he's startled, like he's like, what? And then he's kind of like, hey, good thinking, Dren.
Oh wait, is this
I don't
a
know
chain
if
reaction?
Yeah.
Is this a chain reaction? She gets Thunuk gets Eno, and then Eno gets Dren, because we're all making these weird sounds. Like she's expecting Thunuk to be ticklish and laugh. She's not. She's probably not even focusing on what Eno's up to. Now he's made the accidental boing sound.
Yeah,
but it's like right as Thunuk makes the noise. It's like, is this out of tune?
Hey, good thinking.
So does anything happen to Dren then? Or is she just too focused on the tickle attack?
What would happen to her?
I'll do my own fate die if I'm, or what would it be? A perception? I'll do my own perception.
Yeah, would she herself be startled by the noise of the lute?
Oh, because I do a chord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like a happy chord, like a major.
Yeah.
And it's like
No, I rolled a 5, so I'm not perceiving much of the world except for the amusement of tickling Thunuk.
Okay.
So there's just this maniacal grin on Dren. Everybody, give me a performance check.
Okay.
On this, it's gonna be a group performance check.
I got an 11.
Okay.
18.
18.
I got an unnatural 20.
A natural 20.
Yeah,
that's enough. So with the group check here, you hear this deep rumbling from the statue, and when you look back, the statue is now smiling, and the door behind you opens, and you're able to go up to the next floor. We're gonna switch pan back to Hugon. Hugon, what is the plan here? I'm trying to make sure that we're moving everything along here, so I don't just leave Hugon wandering around like, oh, he's just wandering around doing it, because he's doing things.
I think Hugon believes that he's successfully convinced Thunuk to go underground with him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was easy. And so now he's thinking about ways to get Eno down there.
Okay. Well, I like this. So
But
he's going after each
Eno
one
as well. And
Well, I
Eno
would
is
have
harder
heard-
to lie to.
I would have also heard the conversation, I think, behind me.
Probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he just radios in and goes, "Hey, we need to go to Undermountain."
Okay. When do you want to go?
When y'all are done. I want to stress that, like, it's probably not going to be fun, and you're not going to like why we're there. But at the same time, I think we need to do it.
All right, but we also need to go back to Candlekeep.
No.
Yeah, we.
Why?
Yeah, we have to.
You guys stole stuff from them. They're gonna be pissed.
We have to get it back.
No. That's generally not how you come out of a theft. Not under arrest. Although, if you wanted to get thrown into Undermountain, stealing from Candlekeep might be a way to do it.
Well, then we should go to Candlekeep first and give.
Well, I mean, you could also just pay to take an elevator down.
I don't really have any money.
Oh, that's right. We don't pay you. I have some money. It's like 4 gold.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Eno would be aware of the yawning portal. In fact, he's drank there. Yeah, you've actually been to the yawning portal. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we can discuss strategies, I guess, and when we get out of this temple of Bahamut, we can hook up, maybe have some lunch, dinner probably. It's probably dinner time.
Right.
After that. Okay.
Good. Yes. Yeah, you actually have been to the yawning portal before, and that's actually one of Yannick Vor's hangouts.
Okay.
He likes to play there and hold court there from time to time. So you work your way up to the next floor, same deal as before, same room. And again, all these rooms could be identical except for it seems like each one has a different statue in it. This one has a statue of a silver dragon made of silver. Go figure. And it looks like it's doing the sleepy thing with the tail over the nose. This statue. But when you walk in, you can see that the walls this time do have various scrawlings all over them. And you look and you can see that it looks like people have written little historical tidbits as they've come through, or you see in some places that it looks like a little like a tiny little, not an alcove, but like a little cubby has been carved out or chipped out, and like little you can see there's like some very old coins, like very old coins, or it might be an old relic, a little piece of stone from something. You know, everything looks very, if it's an object, it looks very, very old, but everyone seems to have left little little historical tidbits, graffitied almost into a stone wall, like they've, you know, sat there and etched it in.
Okay. So I'm going to go over to the wall and I want to get an idea of what kinds of things have been carved into the wall.
It's
like,
it's all sorts of different things. It's not like, it's not typically known history stuff. It's not like, oh, this king died on this day, or this was the founding of Waterdeep. It looks more like they're more off the beaten path, drunken history tidbits, I guess, for lack of a better term, where it's like things that, like, oh, I didn't know that that particular thing happened during the Revolutionary War. You know, I didn't know, you know, it was, so it's more like, it's not trivia, but it's like trivia of actually some substance, where it's like, oh wow, like Christopher Lee was in the OSS and might have a confirmed kill count in Europe during World War II. You know, things like that. That like
dude, he killed the shit out of people.
So yeah, it's pieces of information like that. It's historical fact, but it's information that could be discerned as valuable. So it's not ephemera. You know, it's not like, oh, this random thing happened that nobody cared about. It's more like it's pieces of history that were previously unknown.
Okay.
And it's from all over the world. It's not just like Waterdavian. It's not just Sword Coast,
right.
Lord's Alliance. It looks like it's from all over. There's people from all over the world who have made what essentially looks to be like an offering of historical data.
So I look in my pouch and I take out a gold coin, and I then I look back in my pouch and I realize how few gold coins I have, and then I look at the gold coin and then I kind of nod, and I hold the gold coin in my left hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I grab a piece of. Or is there anything to write with, like around? Like, is there like? In other words, is there like a? Okay, so I look for like a. I look for the chalk that I've been writing with my journal, and I take that out. Does it look like they've been carving this into the wall though, or they've been just writing stuff on the wall?
In some cases it's written, some cases it's been not carved in, like chipped with a hammer and chisel, more like if you've ever seen it where people have like taken a nail and like gone into concrete to like, you know, over and over. So it's very scrawled, you know, serial killer looking handwriting in some cases, but it's just because it's more of the tool as opposed to the intent. Basically someone used whatever they had on them to make this offering.
So he looks at the chalk and he looks at what's been written on the wall, and he looks back at the chalk and he puts the chalk away and he takes his dagger out. And he starts carving these words into the wall. He doesn't spend a lot of time doing it, but he carves he says, I, Eno, was once paid 200 gold pieces to write lies about Madeline of the Golden Lion. She was a noblewoman in Waterdeep. I ran away. and he probably takes like 10 minutes to carve this into the wall.
And so while he's doing this,
and then he puts the coin into where the other coin.
Okay. Dren and Thunuk, is there any kind of, while you see him etching this into the wall, is there any kind of action you're taking in this room?
I think basically just perusing over what everyone else has written.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do an investigation to see if there's like something that I can add.
Oh, okay. So Dren might do an investigation check, and Thunuk, are you just sort of like doing a general look? Yeah,
it's like when you go to like okay, so when you go to temples in Japan and you write on little bits of board and you hang those up, you're not supposed to read what other people read or wrote rather, but invariably your eye glances over things and you're like, oh, this is, it's not like it's a faux pas, but it's not forbidden or whatever. People do it anyway.
Yeah.
So he's sort of just glancing over everything he's seeing written on the walls in that fashion, like what people have written. He's not like hunting for truths or anything like that. He's just sort of like, there's text on the wall, your brain will parse it, it just can't be helped.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're seeing like, there's some pieces of like historical things of someone saying, I fought at this battle. The general who was given credit was actually drunk the whole time. Something like that. Confessionals of people who have said that like things that heroic deeds that were attributed to them, they allowed to be attributed to them, but they didn't actually do, or they happened in a different way. Some of them just have a birth date and a name, but you don't recognize the name. And some of the cubbies you recognize, there's like worked stone, like pieces of it's obviously it's not a stone that you found in the woods. That has a certain shape. This is something that actually has been worked, but you can also tell that it is very, very old. So maybe it's an offering from like an ancient civilization, like the ruins or something like that has been left there. And you give me an investigation check as well, or no, in this case it would be perception because it's more passive. You're not actively looking for this. Drenmai, what was your investigation check?
I womp, so 24.
Ooh, you did a womp.
I did
a So with that womp, so you're looking for like a hole that someone has, like a piece of history that's not there that you might have experienced?
Maybe, or like I can see what Eno's trying to do, so I'm trying to glean anything from this where it's like, well, what does it want? Or if I can add to it, maybe I can add to it, because I've seen a lot of shit.
You have seen a lot of shit. It seems that most of the stuff written on here is of somewhat a personal nature, and a lot of it's coming across as confessional. Not necessarily like I murdered a person.
Okay.
But it has run the gambit. You see that there's you could think back to your life and you could probably think of a situation that you've witnessed or something that you've personally done or something like that if you wanted to you could carve into the wall there as an offering.
Totally. I want to go and I want to find like the smallest little corner, like close to the floor or something. And then I want to etch in there like a little heart, and then I want to put D plus H.
D.
I'm so glad that I'm never going to see that.
I ship it.
This is going to be amazing, all the fan art that comes out of this.
No.
It'll be a good alternative to the Hugon Thunuk /fic we've been seeing. I
actually, as I'm carving, I just turn like I ship it.
Yeah,
and I just keep carving.
Thunuk, what was your perception roll?
18.
18. You actually come across some handwriting that you recognize.
Oh.
And it just says, I allowed my student to think I had passed for his own good. He might save the world.
Huh. How recognize it do I? Like,
History check.
degree?
History check.
What's the bonus to that? I just rolled a hard 19, but 22.
This looks like the handwriting of your teacher.
Where's my notebook?
I don't know.
I need my history.
It was not my job to clean your office, nor to keep track of where you put your notebook.
Wow. Why? Are you sure it wasn't your job?
Not this week, it
to be
wasn't.
fair, clean is a strong word to use for that office. It's shift from one corner to a different corner.
You found it,
Other-
see?
I was going to say other duties as assigned, Brian.
That is true. I'm sorry.
God.
Damn it. I always forget about that
You got
clause.
time to lean, Brian.
I don't, though.
I have never wanted to stab another human being so badly in my life. Lean. Motherfucker. Oh.
But as you carve these things into the walls, as you put the final punctuation on your confessional or on your submission here, the door slides open, and you're able to walk up to the next floor. Hugon, is there any other convincing that you feel like you need to do before we reach the final floor here? I am going to say it's the final floor because we're almost out of time, but it's fine.
It's fine.
Final floor.
Honestly, like, there's not much more to say. Like, at least not over the channel.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Hugon will actually go to the yawning portal and just like hang out.
Okay.
And he'll eventually just be like, "Hey, I'm in the yawning portal."
Sounds good. Okay, so we will get to that. The three of you are able to go up to this floor here. Here, there is it appears to be a statue of a gold dragon made of gold, again curled up and sleeping on the floor. And you come in, and the door shuts behind you. And this time, the statue moves. And you can see it is, in fact, not a statue, but a very young gold dragon. Still about Thunuk sized.
I want to keep it.
Do you say that?
Okay.
I want to pet it.
Well, actually, I'm still compelled to say things out loud, so I might have actually said that out loud.
And the gold dragon smiles a little bit at that. The gold dragon smiles a little bit at that, and he says to you, and he says, I am the final test. It is a simple one. And if you can answer it, you can answer my question, you will be able to proceed and speak to our master. And he says, helping people is important. Helping people when you gain nothing from it is even more important. Helping people when you gain nothing from it and without them knowing is an ideal to be achieved. Can any of you share with me a time when you have achieved this ideal, even for a brief moment?
Does Dren know that I left the armor in her office?
She has the armor. She knows that she saw that some of her traps were sprung when you went in there. And we know that Hugon also cleaned the place, which drove her nuts. Which still might win for one of the best pranks we've had. I cleaned it.
I cleaned her workshop.
Does she know? I don't know.
I don't think she does. I don't remember ever telling her.
Yeah, I don't think that
it was me that left that armor there.
Yeah, she just know. Yeah, Dren, I think.
When I went outside, I thought I tried figuring out who fucked up my shop,
Mm-hmm.
and then I asked what that thing was, and then you told me it was you.
Oh,
I did. All right.
Okay. Because you felt bad about springing all the traps.
Yeah. All right. Well. So what was the question again? My brain is mush.
He has asked for a time that you can share with him where you have helped someone where they didn't know that you were helping them, and you have done it without the desire for personal gain.
Oh, okay. Well, it would still work. So, I learned how to make studded leather armor, and I made a set to help protect my friend, and I point to her because she is important to me.
And the dragon looks to you, and he looks at you, we know. Then he looks over to you, Drenmai, and he says, "Was this a worthy gift?"
Worthy gift? Oh, he wants me to tell him something?
No. He's asking you about Eno's story. He's like, this gift that your friend has gave you, has it in fact been of help?
Dog says no.
The dog says no.
Wow.
Dakota has opinions.
I haven't used it yet. Can I?
Wait, you're wearing it?
I haven't even worn it yet.
It's just sitting in the shop.
Still has that new armor smell.
Yeah, it's in the kind of like how you have the deployable thing. I just haven't done anything with it yet. Shit, Dren would really want to get something out of this situation. Hold on. I gotta think of how much trouble I'm gonna get in.
Is he looking at Dren like, answer?
No, I'm just looking at the dragon. I'm just.
It is even a small dragon is a thing to behold.
Yeah.
Well, while she's thinking about this, what would Thunuk's reaction to the dragon be? This is a Thunuk-sized dragon, and young. We know that. We know that he's a wormling, as the case would be.
So, with it.
He's never actually met a dragon before, has he?
I don't think that he has.
He's pretty young, so probably not.
Thunuk size, so he wouldn't be too concerned. He would not have the same reaction he had with the being in the library.
Right. Full-fledged shadow dragon at that point, yeah.
Yeah, where he's basically like flumping out because he's I don't want to get et. Well, this is a new person. He's going to walk right up because this is what you do when you meet new people, and he's been concerned that no one has introduced themselves yet. He's going to walk right up and say, "Hi, I'm Thunuk."
Damn you.
And it sticks his hand out like, "Nice to meet ya."
And the dragon like cocks his head at you, and he holds out like one of his claws, and like puts your hand and shakes him. Ferrovax. The pleasure is mine.
Oh, is that why you said "damn you"? Because you had to name him?
Yes, that's why I said
My
damn
bad.
you.
Give me a second.
Ferrovax. Does Drenmai know how she's gonna do this situation now? Okay.
Yes. So, Dren really, really likes shiny gold dragon in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not gonna be allowed to keep it,
Mm-mm.
be like, well, I'll push the button, and I'll get the armor on.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, why don't you be the judge of it? Fight me.
I'm going to end the game right there because that's a perfect ending place. I love it.
God.
I love it.
Fight me.
Fight me.
You want to make something up?
You want to fight, bro?
Do it.
Come at me. I love that. Awesome. I cannot think of a better place to end today's game. So I think that's where we're gonna put a nice little semicolon at the end of that. Yeah, awesome. Okay, we're gonna come back for table talk in just a moment because we have to do these things, but we will be back in just a moment. So everyone, stay tuned for the table talk portion of our show. I'm in awe right now. All right, we'll see you guys in just a couple of minutes.
build a hut. And
Okay,
I'll call
we
it
are
Java.
build a hut.
I need to investigate schools.
I'm gonna find a good school district to go to in Barovia, but there's not one. So there.
I'll invent pizza.
And then all of a sudden turns out that was the whole thing. If we just made pizza, everyone's happy. Everyone was upset because they never had pizza before.
Aren't,
hi, I didn't see that.
Everyone always happy when they have pizza. It's pizza.
Have I ever told you about the worst pizza I ever had?
It was still pizza.
It was fucking amazing. Today we'll be starting in Quadrant 4, which would find ourselves in the realm of clues, as far as talking about old business.
You guys talking about pizza, and then I watched this show, and there's something that's called prison pizza.
I don't want to know what that is. That sounds not amazing.
Probably cooked on the radiator.
Nope. Listen, nope. We're done. We're done with the concept.
Yeah. Anyways.
Let's
see. My favorite moment. I'm gonna have to say probably Thunuk with the wind.
Okay.
Just because.
Sneak attack wind.
Like, being snuck attacked by a wind from nowhere is amusing. Just, it's windy. Ah! Okay. And I don't know, that's really funny in my head for some reason.
Sorry. Moving along. Excuse me. Thank you. That snuck up on me. Speaking of sneaking up,
Speaking of wind,
Roz.
We're going backwards.
In a counterclockwise direction. Yes.
Okay. I forgot about that. No, but so yeah. I think there's two for me. It would have to be the tickle attack. And right up there is the conversation with, yes, I think we can do something with this.
Like,
we can destroy it, yes.
Yeah. That was
fun.
In character. That was very frustrating.
Yeah. Hugon's dealing with this mad scientist.
Like another Dren.
Oh, fantastic.
So my life couldn't get any better. Another Dren.
Well, moving on to our blind cleric.
Thunuk's reaction to the spiders. Those are the best kind!
That was a good one.
Go
ahead, I'm sorry.
The Hugon, the deep and H heart. Good.
I hope at some point I can actually get into that.
Oh, we're gonna have some fun. There's little plot hooks sprinkled around.
Just little plot hooks.
I like that. Like you think that that's gonna go anywhere.
It doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to. The point, and you probably don't. It's not probably not even what anyone's thinking.
This is true. We don't know what the H stands for.
We don't know what the H stands for.
Although
I would assume it would be Hugon.
Although JD had the good suggestion that of the of either Drenon or Hugmai. Hugmai.
Hugmai.
Oh, I hate it. I mean, like, I love it, but like, oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. But yeah.
Onto the goat.
Hugmai.
Man, the confessions room. I really like the concept of the confessions room. And I love. What was his name again?
Zent the Unwise.
Zent the Unwise.
Zent the Unwise. I both love and hate him. Yeah, he's. I see why they think he's the unwise.
Wait, what was Thunuk's confession?
Thunuk didn't have a confession. There was a confession directed towards him. It was from his master, from his teacher. That he's possibly alive. Yes.
So a couple things I had here. The confessions, excellent. Always good to have more. Always good to have more plot hooks. Can't ever say no to that. What else did we have here? I had to completely rip off Jim Butcher for that draconic name. So.
Oh yeah, how do you spell that?
Ferrovax is how I have it spelled. But I am like 95% sure that's the name of a character in the Dresden Files. So.
Sorry, you said Ferrovax.
Vax.
Ferrovax.
Yes. But the three I have here are the spiders. Not just for the reaction was amazing, but this is so. What I love is that it's been an ongoing point of contention with Hugon and spiders since season 1, and it's now like, well, wait a minute, I can make the spiders work to my advantage. So that was just such a nice.
I can use Thunuk's stomach against him.
Yes. So I think it was one of the very first sessions of season 2, or is towards the beginning of season 2, when you guys went a spider hunting, and it's a nice callback to.
They're jerks in there. I guess burn it down then.
Yeah, burn it down.
Burn it down.
The ticklish sneak attack was amazing. I loved that, and how that whole thing played out. I did not anticipate that, and it was a fun little surprise there. And speaking of 2 other fun surprises, one I mentioned between on the break there that I am very excited that we are going to have a chance to play. I know it's backwards for everyone on stream. I live with it. That I have Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and we're gonna have a chance to play in Undermountain a little bit. I'm very excited by that because it's
Undermountain, just a little bit of Undermountain, just as a treat,
just a taste. Just a taste.
If you're good.
If you behave yourself. If everyone behaves themselves, we'll be able to go down into the Undermountain. We'll be able to play in the Yawning Portal a little bit. But also, I will say I did not count at all on anyone, let alone Dren, saying to a dragon, "Fight me."
Fight me, bro.
Was that meet you outside?
Got you outside.
Got you outside.
I don't think too many fucks left.
Yeah, I find that interesting. So we're gonna have some fun. There's gonna be some stuff that's gonna happen, some things and some stuff that we're gonna be starting with next week. It's gonna be a fight with a gold dragon.
You're questioning my friend's handiwork. Fine, let's test it.
Come at me. Just
don't insult my friend.
Oh no, you didn't. And then like the earrings come off. Hold my earrings. She's coming in. So this will be interesting to say the least. So, but yeah, I think I did not see the turn also for us to have to go to Undermountain, so I'm very excited by that. And I was always happy when I get to do my Joker voice, my homage to Mark Hamill. So, cool. Do we have any new business that needs to be discussed?
Not for me.
Not for you. Nope. What do we have?
I don't know.
Or what are we breaking on Monday?
I might be fixing my cell phone. I'm out of laptops. Completely out of any electronics. I mean, I could break down some old DVD burners that are in the garage.
Just for fun.
But I don't want to. I don't know. I broke my screen on my phone, and I should fix it. I have the parts. Am I feeling brave enough to fix it live?
We shall see now, won't we?
Do it.
Maybe.
Do it. It's good. It's good television. Or good streaming, whatever. Good content.
Yeah.
And are we still on Baldur's Gate on
Still
Tuesdays?
on Baldur's Gate.
Did you beat Nashkel?
No.
Aww.
No.
People are dying, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it.
People are dying, and I'm tired of it.
It's that same freaking what's his face? The
Zir or something like that.
Yeah, Zir,
the necro.
The necromancer is like,
Mhm.
I've got a dagger. Like, you're a necromancer. Cast spells. I've got fists.
I will punch it. No.
Cast the
Honestly,
spells.
one good strategy for keeping him alive is to give him darts.
So he throws
Just
them.
line out his weapons with darts.
Darts. I figured there was a ranged weapon that he had used. Does he not?
I couldn't see anything in his proficiencies for that.
Wizards, I think, are proficient with dart. I think he's actually like not super great at it, but way better with darts than he is with daggers.
And at the very least, he's not wading into battle.
And it will, if you give him only darts and like full stacks of each, he'll never try to run into melee.
I will invest.
Now, if you accidentally like send him into melee, that's a different story.
You've only
But
yourself
if you
to
just have
blame.
him attack at range.
Well, he's never had ranged weapons because all the ranged weapons I've had so far have been bows and arrows,
Mm-hmm.
and he can't equip them.
Mhm.
He can, according to his schematics, he can equip daggers and quarterstaffs. I'm like, why is he so squishy?
I think. Well, dude, welcome to the reality of wizards in old editions.
Yep.
When they say a house cat could kill you in first edition, they're not lying.
No.
Yeah, they were very fragile beings.
Is Jaheira a druid yet?
Yes, she's already a druid to start with.
You may, for Nashkel particularly, you may want to invest in the spell Entanglement.
Okay.
Because it will hurt your allies if you wander into the area of effect.
Mm-hmm.
But it will give you time for your ranger, your rogue, and anybody else you've got with a bow to actually start picking people off because they can't move.
That's true. I need to look at that again.
What else is there?
Yeah, there's a.
She is one. She's basically the only party healer right now.
Yeah.
Aside from the main character. So.
This is back when the rule set was that apparently wizards never even bothered to do a push-up when they got up in the morning.
Yeah, the how you're probably going to have to do this is spend a lot of money on health potions.
I'm spending a lot of money on resurrection right now, so I'm not having a lot of money for health potions.
Stop dying.
We'll just stop doing that.
Gets good.
Stop doing that. Get good, scrub.
Roz, will we be seeing you on Thursday?
I would like to start story time with Roz on Thursday at 8 p.m.
Excellent.
Probably.
Story time with Roz?
Mm-hmm.
Eastern?
8?
Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Eastern Daylight Time.
Neato.
Excellent. And then on Saturday, we'll be back with Saturday Night Fights again. Neil will be back in the mix. And this time, we'll be having a new deck and a new team that was lovingly and artisanally crafted yesterday. By
You say crafted like it was a work of art. The thing is the fucking Kalashnikov. It is ugly and it might work.
We're gonna find out. We will be putting our artisanal efforts to the test on Saturday night to see if I can finally win a game versus Neil's.
I did mean to add yesterday and then forgot. The key, I think, with your deck is going to be choosing the right opponent at the correct time.
Yep.
With the correct fighter.
Yeah, there's a lot to.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to figure it out. So it'll be. We will see. We will see. Okay. Well, I think that pretty much takes us. Unless we got something else, we'll be back next week with a brand new episode of Team X, where we will quite literally have Dungeons and Dragons.
There is a dungeon and a dragon featuring in next week's episode.
At the same fucking time.
Wow, it's just it only took us 2.5 years to get here. Awesome.
It's the same episode. I don't think it's the same time.
Oh.
Pshaw.
Pshaw. Don't bother me with your physics. So we'll be back next week with a brand new, fresh episode right out of the packaging of Team X. So thank you everybody who have joined us on the stream today, and we will see you all very soon. So take care.
Bye-bye.
Later on.